and I welcome you on this What's New webinar. Today I will show you some of the major features that we incorporated in the release 13.1. I will show you how to use those features and also when this functionality can be helpful. We'll demonstrate major features, but you can also find exhaustive list of all the changes on our website. Please feel free to post any questions that you may have. We will have a short questions and answers session in the very end. So let's proceed. First, we will look at various authoring related features. Our formula editor is something that you will find in RapidManual, in DITA and some of the S1000D specifications. It can be used to create complex expressions and formulas. You can input your formula using the provided user interface, or if you have a LaTeX string, then you can paste it in the formula editor, and that will be converted into a plain formula. Let's have a look. That's a RapidManual, DITA, or rather S1000D specification. So here you can see a small example of quite simple formula. Let's open it for editing. That's where we see formula editor. Let's just modify it a bit. Multiply by 2.2.5. Save. And here it is. This formula is actually an image. If I enter the text mode, you can see this is the symbol or image, in other words. Let's insert something else here. As I said, you can insert LaTeX string if you have it, like here. I have it in my clipboard. So that's the plain representation of this formula. And now I save it and insert into my document editor here. Next feature, quite important one, is the so-called RapidAuthor Viewer. This viewer was is a very sought after feature, which allows you to view offline HTML5 or plugin-free publications from local file system without a need to either set special security settings in your web browser, deploy local web server, or use single HTML bundle publication option. This view is included with RapidAuthor Suite. It can also be downloaded as a standalone application from our website. That's the application. Here it's very simple. It's actually a web browser, just without a familiar interface, and it is specifically configured to display our HTML5 plugin-free publications. So I will publish a sample project. And then we will look how to load that in our RapidAuthor Viewer. File publish, I select publish destination. So it doesn't really change a lot. This may be relevant to you if you are accessing your publications from local file system. If you are uploading RapidAuthor publications to your web server and your users access publications via HTTP protocol or via internet, this is not applicable to you. Otherwise, if you use local file system, then it is. So let's open this XML file. And here it is. That's the identical kind of output that you will also see in the regular web browser. All the interactivity, it's all here. Identical kind of thing. Next, we added several new object gallery items. One of them is so-called callout XML object, which can dynamically fetch or pull a specific text or element from your document. The idea is that if you update the text in the document editor, then that callout value will also get immediately updated. Let's have a look. Same project here, and this is the one. Now let's open Object Gallery. Here it is. That's our one of the new objects, callout XML. Now, if I open it for editing, you will see here quite familiar user interface with appearance and reference line tabs. But the difference here from a regular callout is that you can reference here specific element from the document editor. In this case, I reference this bit, and you can see these two are identical. Now let's change something here and save our document editor. You can see callout is being immediately updated. We also added a separate axial line item, which can be used to create exploded views thrust lines independently from Explosion Wizard. Sometimes thrust lines that are created by Explosion Wizard are not sufficient, or they're not following the required path. With this object, you can actually manipulate and control. You can have full control over your thrust lines. Let's look on this project here. So here we have a very simple exploded view. Now suppose that for some reason I want to manually create exploded view of the outer casing, and for that I will use this axial line object. So I just insert it into my item tree, point 1.2, which I can attach to any face of my object. Let's say here, and second point will go here, like this. Now you can also add additional points, intermediate ones, and you can also change their positions. Since these two are now attached to those objects, and you can now change positions of the objects, the reference line, the thrust line will follow. These thrust lines, they do also appear in 2D preview, so whenever you generate vector illustrations, you will also see them here, and they are also appearing in the same style as the auto-generated thrust lines. Now we have this host spline object, which can be used to recreate various cables, wires, and this kind of objects, ropes. We added a special property to this host spline object, which allows you to create an animation which depicts some kind of fluid flow or gas flow, for example. There are a number of properties that you can use, which I will show you in a second, and this is more relevant to those of you who are creating procedure manuals in RapidManual. It can be used, of course, in Rapid Catalog also, but mainly this is to do with animation, so RapidManual primarily. Let's open a different project here. So this hose has been created using the hose spline object, which was there in the previous versions. Now, if you launch editing user interface. You see here the second tab is flow. This is where we can assign fluid or gas flow. So animation, type of objects, number of objects that are visible at any given time, the size, relative size, animation, that's a number of seconds from starting to ending position, or points, and the color and so on. Now, first, we actually need to make this hose semi-transparent using material editor like this. So that's our animation. And so this is the essence of this feature. It's quite simple, but it's a good opportunity to also show you it in conjunction with this another feature relevant to RapidManual Rapid Learning. This is a new action which you can use in your procedure, which is called set object parameter value to. What it does, it allows you to change parameters of parametric objects from object gallery during your procedure. So if you want, say, to change the color of the light source, as you know, we have light sources in object gallery, or if you want to change the flow of those arrows, for example, direction of those arrows. This is where you can use this action. The difference is that previously it was only possible to set those parameters for object gallery items once, and they stayed with your procedure till the end of the procedure. Now you can change them whenever you need. So, but this example, let's say I want these arrows to go in the opposite direction after this first action, which is called inspect. So let's pick our hose spline and select the new action, set object parameter value to. So you see it reads set the hose spline parameter undefined. So this is where we can select one of the available parameters, and for all the object gallery objects, they will be slightly different depending on what object gallery item does. So in this case, let's say I want to invert the flow value to 1, which means I want it to be inverted. So let's now check this. I'm afraid there may be a problem with this specific project. I will just reload it. Okay, let's have a look. So that's the initial direction. Now it should get inverted. Yes. So that's what this new action is for. With it, you can change parameters of object gallery items. Okay, other exciting authoring features. Whenever you have a very complex and lengthy RapidManual publication, plugin-free publication, you may want to display only specific steps or step from that publication. And previously, one of the ways you could do that is to create a cloned copy of the project and just erase unnecessary steps. Now it is much easier to achieve that. You can simply specify special hashtag parameters in the URL string, and with that, only those steps that you had in the URL string, they will only appear. So let's look how this works on this project. But first, I will use a special setting. That's a new publish option setting which is available. Generate step list file. What it does, whenever you publish the project, it creates a text file with unique identifiers of all the steps, and then you use those identifiers to create that URL parameters. So let's now publish this project. That's our text file, and these are the internal identifiers that we will now use. And now let's select a couple of steps that we're interested in. Let's say step 5 and 6. Step 5 and 6. I first open this publication. Right. Let me republish this. So it should be done now. Now that's a complete procedure. So now I will specify those hashtag parameters in the URL address. First I insert the hash sign from my clipboard. Now let's grab some of those steps. So say step 5 and 6. Paste it here. Now if you want a range of steps, you insert a comma and then the ending step identifier. In case you want only one step to be displayed, then it should also you should also specify the ending step, which will be the identical one, like this. Now let's hit enter and check. That's it. That's those two steps, both represented in the document editor as 2 steps and in the 3D window also. And this works with all RapidManual specifications, but that step list file is currently only available in DITA specification. Also, in RapidVoc instructions this time, specification is now possible to supplement your document by video and audio files. It's quite straightforward. There is no icon on the toolbar, so you have to use a right-click context menu to attach a resource. So let's insert something here. Right-click, insert multimedia object. Sample video. Now let's publish this. And that's our video here attached. Also, a very small enhancement, but still some of you may find it useful. We have so-called intermediate pages in Rapid Catalog and Rapid Illustrator, with which you can create special transitions between any 2 pages. So if you want to demonstrate something while user transits between 2 pages, you can insert so-called intermediate pages. And previously you could only insert them between 2 pages and mark them as intermediate. And now these pages are firstly called hidden, and you can also now insert these hidden pages anywhere in the hierarchy of IPC pages. And whenever these pages are isolated, so they're there's stored something in the end, or there's no page beneath such hidden page, then this page is not appearing in your end publication, and you can store some temporary data for your own reference. So it is not going outside of your project when you publish. Next feature, autosave. If you have a power cut or RapidAuthor accidentally closed, for some reason crashed, you can restore that project if you enable autosave. There is a possibility to specify a saving period, which can range from 1 minute to 1 minute or more, basically. Similarly, we also now have UI commands for saving and loading settings, and this include not only user interface options or settings, but also publish options and screen layout. And these settings are tied to a specific RapidAuthor application, such as Rapid Catalog or RapidManual. So you can exchange your settings now with your colleagues, synchronize them across multiple workstations. And a similar enhancement is import and export UI commands for user-defined colors in material editor. So instead of copying a system file, which you could do previously, now there is a much quicker way to export and import your material editor. Now, the next subject we are going to discuss right now is DITA authoring. In this release, there are a lot of DITA-related enhancements. And first one is the new specification called DITA map, which is available in Rapid Text. What it does, it allows you to create a single publication consisting of DITA publications or DITA topics. So with this specification, you are not creating any content. You are creating it to you're creating a structure of your publication with this specification. The output is this. It can be either HTML interactive publication or PDF output. Let's look at this. So that's available in Rapid Text. And DITA map specification. First, you generate a document, and this is where you can create a structure. So there is corresponding UI commands. So insert structure item. This is where we can find DITA projects or topics stored in your working space. So let's say I want a cover page, which I previously created. Let me just find it first here. And then I also want assembly procedure. By the way, you can preview whatever you are selecting. There's a way to create a structure, so you can have a quite complex structure of pages or publications, and also spare part catalog. Now let's publish this. Obviously we can change the title, but we'll leave it as is. And that's our publication. It's a single publication consisting of those RapidAuthor projects or topics. Quite simple search, but still useful, which your end users can use. Gasket 6 instances of this word in this maintenance procedure. So apart from interactive HTML output, you can also create a PDF output. Also, that will be a single PDF document consisting of and referencing those projects. PDF can be created via file publish as command, so that's nothing new here. Also, we added additional schemas for DITA topic specification in Rapid Text, and they are mainly to do with the learning-related schemas, learning assessment, contents overview, and so on. Out of these 5, the most interesting one is learning assessment, with which you can create this kind of interactive assessments with various kinds of questions, such as a single true, correct or wrong answer, multiple selection, sequencing question, and so on. Let's look here. So that's DITA topic specification, but first you just need to go to metadata window and specify the schema which you want. It defaults to general topic, but here you can also select learning assessment, for example, and execute document generate command. This is a blank template of the structure that you can use to create your exam, for example. Now let's open more or less ready-made example. And publish it. By the way, this is DITA schema, so this is not something that we invented, let's say, and this is a regular DITA functionality, let's say. This is how it looks, and when Bob will discuss in a minute a new DITA learning map specification, it will make sense when to use this publication. So, but for now, you can see that a user can actually make selection of answers. So finally, DITA learning map specification. This is also a new specification, and it is similar to DITA map, which I previously shown to you. It also allows you to create a single publication which references or consists of other learning-related topics. The output is looking very similar. With this specification, PDF and SCORM output formats are also supported. And that's also Rapid Text, by the way. So let's create a sample project, DITA learning map. And just like in regular DITA map specification, here we simply add those topics that are already sitting in our local RapidAuthor working space. And I will also pick actual questions. Okay, now let's publish it. Check how this looks. And this is our actual assessment topic. Submit, incorrect answer. So a user will go through all these questions, and towards the end, if properly configured, the answers can be transferred to learning management system, like so. And finally, on the subject of DITA, quite exciting and useful feature which is something that DITA allows, and this is something that was available with Team Center RapidAuthor integration. Now this is also available in standalone mode. It basically allows you to reference or reuse elements such as texts, videos, or images from other projects stored in the same working space. So without the need to insert identical elements, you can simply create a library of such elements in one project and then reference them in other objects, in other projects. Let's look here in Rapid Text. That's my project with so-called library of reusable elements. So these are various images, texts, which I will reuse. Now in RapidManual, let's open a DITA project. And the way it works is this. If you'd like to reference an image, for example, you need to either create an image or just stand on an existing image here and launch insert key-based content reference command, which is available here on the toolbar. And this is where we select select a project from the current working space. So content for use is the name of the project, and these are all the images stored within that project. So that's now reused. And similarly, we can reuse any kind of element. So let's reuse an element called B. It stands for bold text. So I just stand somewhere inside this element and open this UI. Content for use. These are the internal identifiers for those different texts from that project. Like this. And so I can publish this project. If you're wondering what will happen upon update, if I change something here and save this project, if I then reopen my RapidManual project, then this referenced content will also get updated immediately, and then you can republish your RapidManual project. But it doesn't have to be RapidManual. You can reference from Rapid Text and also reuse this content from other Rapid Text DITA project, for example. It can be any combination. Next subject is our Cortana 2D Editor Pro. The version which relates to release 13.1 is 6.1. And the first feature is the new tool called Pick Points, which allows you to simultaneously pick control points belonging to different objects. Maybe it doesn't make sense at the moment. Let me show you when it can be useful. So suppose I want to extrude this object in upward direction. Previously, you could do this manually, and you needed a lot of iterations to achieve that. Now, you simply select objects that you would like to manipulate later on and enter Pick Points tool mode, like this. Now, when this mode is enabled, you see control points, and at this point we select those points, like this. They're belonging to different objects, to different lines. And from here we can manipulate, so we can drag them like this, but I will not do this. Instead, in Property Inspector, I will go to Transformations tab, move, horizontal shift, 1.5 centimeter. No, that's horizontal. I need vertical 1.5, like this. So that's very neat, precise, and quick way of creating this kind of things. Next, Offset Path tool. which basically creates a path which is offset by a specified number of units. And it is particularly useful when you are creating cables of some sort. Look on this other example. Need to open sample project here. So sample cable is here. Let's suppose that I would like to create a new cable from scratch. It's a polyline. I need polyBZ instead. So if you simply copy paste it, that won't work because it's not properly being offset. Instead, you can use the new tool, offset path tool, like this. You already can see the tracing of the new shape. So let's input an appropriate offset like this. So that's a new shape. Let's create a figure out of them too. And that's it. I'll have a proper path which is precisely offset relative to the original curve, like this. We also added advanced search within a 2D editor, which is quite complex. I can use a combination of different criteria to find objects in your illustration. So it's available under Edit menu, Edit, Advanced Find. So let's say I want to find a light gray shape. That's the only one here. Also texts, for example, and that's a call out with the value of 25. And also quite useful, you can find shapes, objects by their sizes. That can be the precise value, approximate one with a given number of tolerance units, more than, let's say, more than 10. And that's the only object which matches this criteria. So you can use combination of different criteria, such as searching within specific layers, locked, hidden, and so on, object types. Also, some of you who need precise drawing of objects, it is now possible to use simple arithmetic expressions in various user interface windows of 2D editor, such as in Property Inspector and in Transformations tabs. These are those basic operators which can be used, and units. Quite straightforward example is to use a percentage. So if you would like to increase or decrease the length of some object by, say, 50%. Let's look. Let's check on this shape. So that's my Property Inspector, position and size, length. Let's say minus 25%, like this. Plus 1 centimeter, like this. Minus 5 millimeters. This also works with angles and basically with most of linear dimensions that you will find in Property Inspector and in here in Transformations window. Balloon object is the new object in the gallery of Cortana 2 DITA Pro, which is quite straightforward object. It can be used to create insets. And it comes with a number of control points, which you can use to manipulate its corner points and other elements. Now let's check this example also. So object gallery, and that's the one. Balloon. Let's put it here. Use this control point, like so. Decrease the radius of corners. Of course, you can also use property inspector if you want to precisely specify parameters of this object. Now let's open just sample image. I will grab this figures and put it inside my balloon like this. And send it to back like this. That's where it can be used. Okay. Just like in RapidAuthor, you will also now find Autosave feature. So whenever you have a power cut or RapidAuthor accidentally crashed, if you open the same image, you will be prompted with an option to restore that image or discard it. And also saving and loading of settings, just like in RapidAuthor. The next subject, briefly, data import. Here you see various CAD format versions that we are now supporting with release 13.1. In terms of changes in Rapid Developer, specifically Rapid Configuration tool, some of the major ones, is the ability to override colors in import profile. So instead of assigning colors manually in RapidAuthor, you can do this via import profile. Also, when you work with JT files via RapidJT component, you can use loads, if there are any, in JT file, instead of representations that are generated by Rapid Generator. This can be used if you need to use those specific loads that are stored in JT files, or if you would like to improve the time it takes to import. Sometimes, but not always, this feature may reduce the time it takes to import JT files, but it depends on the specific data model. Also, buffer metadata rules are not something that is required starting from this release, so you can directly extract and map metadata from source to RapidAuthor project metadata. So that's now optional. And you will also find various user interface improvements, such as ability to restore various import profile settings back to default values according to what is defined as standard profiles, and a simple search mechanism to search for specific items in item tree within Rapid configuration. I mean within the CAD file that you're working on. Quite important announcement. There will be a patch for release 13.1. It will address a number of already known issues that you can see on here. It is expected to be released on the 19th of March. Also, starting from the next major release, which is due this summer, plugin-based HTML publications will be discontinued, so you will not find a publish option to create plugin-based publications. So the only kind of HTML output will be non-plugin or plugin-free, or HTML5 in other words. And also those plugin-free publications, starting from the next release, they will not support Internet Explorer, so consider using other modern HTML5 browsers. Now, during this webinar, I have shown you key features. There are many more. Some of them may be relevant to you, so I encourage you to look at our release notes that are available on Cortana 3D website. Under support section, release notes. All the changes are listed, and for some of the features you will also find corresponding video explaining how to use and how to make use of new functionality. All of the new features, including all the features in general, are documented, as you may know. You can find documentation in PDF files, and also documentation is embedded within each application. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in questions and answers section, and I will try to answer them. If you have any questions later on, you can send them to us to support@cortana3d.com. Question from Carlos Jones. Can you demonstrate flow in Rapid Catalog? I see Marina Nemchenko already answered this question. Indeed, this works in identical way in any RapidAuthor application, meaning in Rapid Catalog, in Rapid Illustrator, and in Rapid Learning. So you simply insert host spline from the object gallery and specify your flow parameters. So there is no difference whatsoever. If you don't mind, I will not show it. Another question from a person who hasn't specified his name. Not sure, but is it possible to see directly the total number of quantity of an item? For example, the total amount of all washes of a particular part of a 3D model. And that's for Rapid Catalog. Well, in most specifications, we have an automatic quantity calculation, which goes to your DPL table, and it does calculate quantities. By default, a part number is used to calculate that. If that answers your question, I hope it does. If it doesn't, then please feel free to specify what exactly you mean. A question from Gerard. Can you confirm me that the mismatch of language of RapidAuthor specification used was caused? Okay, I guess this is not related to our what's new webinar, but yes, it was inbuilt fixed in version 13.1, Gerald. A question from Carlos Jones. What 3D viewer URL in Rapid Catalog publish options? Carlos, this is this is not the new feature. 3D Viewer URL allows you to specify the folder on your web server where you are storing your resources for the viewer, for the Cartoon 3D Solar library. This is sometimes needed to enhance performance, so that user is loading Cartoon 3D Solar viewer only once, so caching it in his or her browser. This is not something that is required. You can leave it blank. Whenever you publish, viewer resources will be included in the publish folder. If you would like to receive precise instructions on how to do this, you can reach us at support email. How to change the color of just selected parts. Let me show you. I suppose you're referring to this color of the selection. You go to 3D View menu, highlight Material. This is where you can specify the color that you would like to use for selection. I suppose there are no more questions at this time, so I thank you for joining. I hope you found some of the demonstrated features useful to your work. Thank you and good day.